So I just saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes last night, and let me tell you, I still can't get over this movie. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is now the 4th addition into this franchise, following our main character Noah, whose whole world is changed when the kingdom of Proximus Caesar raids and destroys his village, taking his family captive while trying to unlock the secrets of the ancient world. Noah finds himself having to step into the challenge of rescuing his family while making some new friends along the way and discovering that the legend and story of how they came to be has been altered and twisted. I gotta say, as someone who loves those first 3 movies, this 4th one is an amazing addition to the franchise. Getting into it right away, let's talk about the way that this movie looks. The scenery and scope of this film is absolutely beautiful. Seeing the landscape of what the world now is after 300 years was honestly something that I was excited to see. Trees and nature have completely taken over. The CGI lives up to those older movies in a great way. The apes themselves look so real, along with other animals that pop up throughout the film. Just solely based off the way that this movie looks, top tier. Talking about the setting just a little bit, the time jump of the movie I think is handled so well. Remember, this is 300 years after Caesar's time, and it pans out in a very realistic way. You have these clans of apes, all who by now really live by their own ideologies, who really don't know much or anything about Caesar and who he was and what he stood for. And then you have Proximus Caesar, who has used the legend of Caesar and twisted his legacy in order to fit his own needs and his own goals and rule over his own kingdom. And then you have the humans, who now are looked at as these feral and dumb almost animals that apes don't even really waste their time with anymore. They just kind of keep them at bay. Both the main story and the side story do a really great job at keeping you involved. You're feeling for Noah and his drive to save his clan. Also, you're curious about Proximus Caesar and his motives to find these ancient secrets of the humans and how to use that to his advantage. Speaking on the characters, I found Noah to be extremely interesting. He's not much of a fighter or the physical type as of now. His clan was a peaceful group, but there are scenes here that really show his intellect. He's smart, calculated, and very ambitious. And it's his ambition that both get him into trouble, but also allow him to be determined enough to get himself out of it. And he's hungry for knowledge. By the end of the movie, he definitely gives off leader vibes. And I feel really good about Noah being the next character that we continue to follow. The orangutan that we meet in this movie was probably my favorite of the movie. He was kind of like this crazy old mentor to Noah, helping Noah to realize that there is more to their history and to the legend of Caesar than what he knew. He's a small comedic relief for the movie, and his moments had me with a few chuckles. The human in this movie, played by Freya Allen, was a nice little addition. Her character also shows to be very ambitious and determined in her mission. Maybe my least favorite character of the film, but not because she was a bad character. She just does a few things in the movie that kind of make me question her intentions, and by the end of the movie, I actually think that it's her character that gives a little bit of foreshadowing into what we can maybe expect in the sequels. The king, Proximus Caesar, man, he was compelling. Bro really was a tyrant in every sense of the word. He was crazy, selfish, and willing to do anything necessary in order to achieve his goals. At times, he really felt intimidating and was just a brutal ruler. My only wish with him is that we got a little bit more time with him. I wouldn't say that he was underutilized. He was definitely present, but I feel like we could have seen a bit more of him and maybe how he became king. I don't know if he was a direct descendant of Caesar. I don't think so, but if he was, it would have been a cool thing to see maybe out of these 300 years when the legend of Caesar kind of got twisted. Lastly, the thing that I want to mention, possibly spoilers, but I really don't think so, is the presence of Caesar in this movie. A lot of times when a new director and a new studio take over a franchise, they sometimes choose to completely disregard or ignore what has come before. Ryan Johnson. But no, Wes Ball really paid homage to those previous films, and it shows. Whether it was loyalists who followed the way of Caesar and his view of the humans, or apes like Proximus who taint that message for personal gain. He's talked about throughout the entire movie, and if you love those 3 movies the way that I did, you'll be sitting there really satisfied and content in some of the moments, hearing just how praised and loved Caesar was, even after his death. It was beautifully done. Overall, this movie was amazing. It hit you in the feels, kept you in suspense, worried you about the characters and if they were going to be okay, all while maintaining a beautiful scenery and feeling like it fit in well to this world that we previously knew. I don't really have much negative to speak on it. I don't necessarily think that it matches up maybe with like War or Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. It gets a bit slow in some areas, but I think it's up to par with the first movie. And I think that if we do get sequels, it'll just keep improving. Definitely go see it in theater. Those are my thoughts on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. If you've seen the movie, how did you feel about it? If you didn't, are you planning to? Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed this review. Subscribe to the channel to be updated for future content. Y'all be smooth, and don't forget, stay geeked up.